Welcome to this random vlog. I'm here cooking some stuff. Chopping for a salad. And I'm gonna be rambling on again about systems because systems are just the best. And so I really wanna get everyone so hyped up about systems that more people start incorporating them into their daily life. What do I mean with systems? It could be anything from like putting away your socks in a certain way to having a virtual assistant with almost fully automated processes of every kind, like I'm trying to build up. And it's super exciting because I just noticed, of course, the setup is quite time consuming and requires a lot of thinking and figuring out how do I set this up? How do I explain this to someone? Someone who has a specific profile and is obviously not identical to me. How to explain to this other human how to carry out the tasks that I need done. And if you are are wanting to be an entrepreneur, this is absolutely essential, and the earlier you can start practicing this, the better, because that is essentially what a company is, right? It's a bunch of people doing that, breaking down tasks and passing them on to others. So yeah, I'm really happy that I started doing this, and I'm really happy with my virtual assistant. If you need one, let me know. I can definitely recommend him. He's probably watching this because he does my thumbnails. And shout out, yeah, team. And yeah, so God, I can't think today. I just realized earlier, because I'm trying to pass on to students from my tutoring to someone else. I realized, oh God, I have this trip Thursday to Sunday, and I did not consider this when booking my bajillion zillion students per week. And then I was in a frenzy trying to clear up that time so that I could actually make the most out of the trip and get a little bit of time at least with friends and sightseeing and whatever. And so yeah, I started to look for replacement tutors and realized, okay, this is going to be really time consuming and annoying, because you ask in a big group and then random people will reply, and then you have all these individual chats and they'll tell you like, oh, I can't do that time, can you do another time? And then I have to ask the student, can you do this other time? And you're playing messenger with all these individual things trying to coordinate, and I was like, I'm not going there. Unfortunately, my assistant can't help me with some of those things because I'm dealing with German people, and actually we could talk to them in English a lot of the time, especially English tutors. But there's also the likelihood, it's very high in unexpected situations like these, that decisions are going to had to be made and information is going to be needed that I currently only have myself. And so in this whole process I realized I need to systemize even further, because, for example, the actual teaching material with my student is already online. I have it on, everything we do is on a Google Doc. And yet, when they asked me, can you tell me what you guys are doing? I had to go to my browser, open up the Google Doc, and then be able to send it and tell them. I'm like, why did I not just put that? I just put the trash part in the salad. Other way around. Why did I just not link to that immediately in the student profiles that I already have centralized in our team hub? So if I already have a profile for each student with a bunch of information, and my assistants have access to it, then why not include the Google document as well? And I just hadn't thought of it because I hadn't needed it. Now, on the other hand, I really do believe in this principle that I learned from a really good friend and colleague of mine, an awesome coach that I've co-founded with and tinkered on a couple of projects with, is he says, don't add anything until the very second you need it. And that's really good practice, because otherwise you just create unnecessary complexity. So I guess now I needed it, now I added it. And at the same time, I wish I could just kind of foresee what I'm going to need and be able to predictively just add still only what's necessary. But I guess that's something maybe that comes with time. Yeah, so also in the communication with the individual replacement tutors, I was like, I'm not going to be writing all these private chats, and I don't want to go through this every time that I want to find a substitute. Now, since English is my main subject that I'm teaching a lot, I thought, why don't I just start a mini group? Then it's people I know. We get the hang out of each other. If they accept my communication style, then I know that that works and that's amazing, and I can just send them a quick hyper voice note and they can deal with it, for example. Or that they know, I don't know, what I'm like. They already know my students, maybe. I can give them the same ones again. You know, wherever you can, just try to save effort. And always ask yourself, is this going to repeat itself? Is this something I'm going to need again? Or something similar? And this is a type of thinking that you really learn in IT, for example, or in maths, I guess, which is what abstraction applies to all of these instances. So in other words, if I'm dealing with motorbike and car and bicycle, am I really dealing with completely different things every time, or am I just dealing with vehicles? Because then you can implement whatever help, you can have systems that will apply to every kind of vehicle and realize, oh, that's always helpful, that's always useful. You know, like I always need, I don't know, wheels. Yeah. So now all of my student profiles have the Google document linked to them. And then I also realized, oh, it's invoicing time. It's that time of the month. The worst part about being a freelancer. How can I improve this? There was zero documentation as to who needs to be invoiced when and for which hours, in which time frame. It was just all in my head, which is the stupidest thing you can do if you're trying to be efficient and set up a team. And so now I created a field in the student hub where I can add for each student what's the next time frame that needs to be invoiced. And then there's then I set up a workflow and I explain this. And I say, for example, okay, whenever you do an invoice, check the time frame. And when the invoice is done, just erase the time frame. Then I'll see this is empty, this needs entering. And so with simple principles like that, you can save yourself so much work and resources in general. Like, of course, fields in a database don't cost anything, but if they did, I'm saving myself adding a checkbox next to it for my team to be like, done, I've done the invoice now. It's like, we don't need that field. You can just erase the dates and then I know it's done. And so in everything that I do, I try to apply this efficiency thinking. And people somehow seem to have a negative association with that. They're like, well, isn't that stressful? Isn't that like so much extra work? I'm like, no, it is literally the best thing that's happened to me. Because every time you take that little extra effort, and it was necessary, and it does repeat itself, then you already saved yourself so much work, and this is cumulative. You know, this thing, I set up one system, and if it happens to repeat itself 20 times, I just saved myself that amount of time times 20. If it happens not to repeat itself, okay, well then maybe I wasted 2 minutes, 10 minutes. That's not that bad. And what's he wasted? I needed it for that one time anyway, you know? So I don't know why people have this resistance against efficiency. I keep encountering this everywhere. Somehow they're like, oh, this is turning me into a robot, or I don't like the way this feels. And especially when it comes to applying it to other areas of life, like personal life, or things like traveling, booking planning, cooking. I would so like to delegate this right now. That's not really something you can do virtually. Although I'm working on what parts we can delegate virtually. Like I got my assistant to download Flink, even if they're in a different country. I'm still working on it, but it's probably going to be like they help me figure out some recipes. We have some sort of running calendar. The recipes are linked to the necessary ingredients and necessary amounts. And then they can order for me. And we just agree on the pickup point, which will integrate super nicely into our super exact scheduling using multiple calendars. So you see, everything that I did with the calendars will now serve this as well. The fact that I've been using Flink for a while and I already know the inventory, even when I didn't need to, I decided to use it, even if it's a little more expensive, just so I could get to know it in preparation for this. That was also all well-employed time and well-employed delivery fees. I literally picked up Flink from a central station the other day because I don't like going to the supermarket. I have to admit that. Being neurodivergent, probably still need to get diagnosed. I just walk in there and God knows what will happen. Maybe I'm out in 5 minutes. Maybe I got the right stuff. Maybe I'm in there an hour and a half. Maybe I got everything except what I needed to get. All 4 possibilities in that matrix could happen, and everything in between. So yeah, much better to order to a pickup point. Then they pick it out for me and I know that I'm getting what I wanted to get. And it's super quick, much quicker swiping through a phone and picking things than having to walk through aisles and going to get them yourself. Anyway, I didn't mean to advertise for Flink, they're not paying me. But yeah, everything starts to feed into everything else and everything starts to become interconnected. And this is just amazing, I love this. Also, like, the more I work with students and fellow tutors, the more of a network I'm building up. And I'm instantly labeling all of these chats in my chat with the system. Whenever I'm on LinkedIn, I add people and I label them in a hub as well. And all of these sort of dead contacts or systems lying around are going to get activated at some point. And when I'm like, oh man, I wish I knew more people who do this or that. Or, oh man, I wish I had more resources for my new business. Bam! Guess what? They're already there and organized. So yeah, I hope this video could influence you a little more to, yeah, bring your everyday life, or at least your work, a little more in this direction, and give you some insightful tips, even if not too concrete, like some ways of thinking about things. And feel free to get in touch with me. I love hearing stories about things that people automate and delegate. Like I heard about this guy who delegated his Tinder. He got his assistant to swipe for him, and he had like pre-made text templates, which I thought was just insane, but also very cool on the, like, you know, systemic nerd kind of side. And so I started to check out this guy and we got in touch, and he's very cool and I might be working with him as well. So yeah, let me know what your craziest or only delegation automation stories are, or if there's something that you would like to delegate, automate, and you don't know how, or something that, you know, you just hate doing and you think you have no choice but to do it. Try me. I could probably prove you wrong. Anyway, thanks for watching, even though I was distracted cooking and it was a little long, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.